This time on the driver's corner, we are going to take apart the rear bumper so that I can get my new GT3 exhaust installed. Stay tuned. So on the impact era cars, you have these two large bumperettes, which I'm going to remove. I'm going to eventually fill in the holes. There's going to be 3 large holes on each side that are going to be visible. I'll probably put a couple plugs in there. I'm just going to take advantage of this opportunity. So I've got an aftermarket muffler on the car now that came with the car. It's not a very good sounding muffler, and it definitely doesn't look very good either. And so while I am getting ready to take it to an exhaust shop, I decided that I would go ahead and take the bumperettes off because I have to take the lower valence panel out as well. And taking off the rear bumperettes, with my car, I don't know if this is true for all of them, but with an aftermarket muffler, I could reach around and get the bumperettes off without, I've only done one so far, so I'm gonna show you this and talk through that just a little bit so you can kind of understand where you get to them, and then I've got to figure out what to do to make it look better after. So what you end up with is basically 4 holes after you take the bumperettes off, and then whatever paint damage that's going to come from that. So you've got, this is a bolt hole. So on the back of your bumperette, there are 3 bolts that are inset into the rubber. And then you've got your reverse light here that's plugged in. So it's pretty simple. It's a 13 millimeter is what takes the bolts off. You can access them from the bottom, at least with my car, and the muffler that's on there you can. This is ugly though, so there are so many layers of paint and whatever is going on there, so I don't even know if I'm gonna run around like this just because it looks so bad, and I'm pretty far off from painting this car, so I may be putting those back on, but we'll see. All right, so both of them are off. Obviously, due to the repaint on my car, I've got some funky paint stuff to deal with. I definitely do prefer the profile with the bumperettes off. I do not like the nastiness that's going on back there. I thought I was just gonna be able to put some plugs on it and call it a day, but due to the damage to the paint, I don't really think that's an option for me. It's just too nasty. I may throw some plugs. I may sand it a little bit, throw some plugs, and then just shoot the middle section of the bumper with the same paint that I did the ducktail with, just for now, because man, that is rough. All right, my next step in order to be able to put the GT3 muffler on is going to be removing the lower valence piece. So basically the center lower valence with the single out has to come off due to clearance issues for the center out on this M&k stainless GT3 setup. Okay, yeah, these are really tough to get out, and I am stripping it with that screwdriver. So I have to go get the larger format screwdriver to pull out all 50 million of these, because apparently Porsche thought that this was a structural piece and had to have 1,000 fasteners. So I'll be back. Now I do believe it's just a should be pretty easy removal with these Phillips. I'm sure I'm gonna, oh yeah, they're on there really tight. I need both hands. So I broke out the drill just because this was not cooperating, and I was gonna start stripping them. This is impossible to do with the camera. Yeah, you guys know what taking a screw out looks like, so cool. So that one's completely stripped out. I'm gonna cut it with a hacksaw blade so we can move on with our lives. Yeah, so hacksaw blade doing its magic. All right. So, bumper is kind of ready to go. Shouldn't have a problem with clearance. Let's see if I can get an appointment at the exhaust shop. I couldn't live with this for the next little bit until I figure out what I'm gonna do about the bumper. So I went out and got some carriage bolts to fill in these holes. I peeled off some of that paint that looked like crap and sanded it. I'm just gonna dust this really quickly with the rattle can paint that I did the ducktail with. It's not gonna match perfect, but I don't know. I just can't. All right, so I thought I could live with it. I was gonna paint the carriage bolts, but it's just too ugly. So I've got to figure out a way to braze in those holes and then paint the bumper properly, because yeah, this isn't going to do it for me. So I'm going to go ahead and put a big chunky bumperettes back on. All right, so put them back on, but the rear valance is removed and I do have an appointment to get the muffler put on. So for those of you who don't mind your car looking like crap, you can take off these rear bumperettes and then just put some plugs in there. If anybody wants them, I will send them all the crap that I bought, because I'm not going to do that. If anything, I will have to braze in the holes and get it together. But that's how you do it. It's basically 3 bolts. You got to cram your hand up in there. I used a couple extensions and a swivel, and they came out really easy. It takes about 10 minutes to do the whole thing, taking your time. So that is the Bumperette Delete, and then put back on. The only reason I did it is because I did have to get this part off in order to do the muffler install. So next video will probably be that muffler on the car. Oh man, that's gonna be sweet.